Hi, all. Cullen Haynes, Legal Home Loans. Welcome to Law Live. I've got Amanda Allen, the barrister's broker, about to join me here today. 10 years in the business, and we'll be talking about all things bookkeeping for our leading members at the bar. Could you please make very welcome my dear friend Amanda Allen, who's given up her Wednesday afternoon to chat to us and in transit. How are you, Amanda? What's happening?
Yeah, no, good. I've just pulled over on the side of the road. So, yep, just trying to make my way home.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yep.
And what are you seeing in the market at the moment? Obviously, it's the start of the year. All I guess barristers come back after Australia Day, so maybe not much has been happening. Is that the sentiment that you've been seeing?
Yeah, this is actually one of my busy times for people to contact me. I think when they get back from holidays, they realise it's they like their spare time, they like their that downtime. So yeah, it's I'm contacted a fair bit in the start of the year. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I'd love to ask you, because I get this question all the time as well. How did you niche down to look after just barristers, being their bookkeeper?
Well, I've been in the actual accounting industry for about 25 years, and about 12 years ago I worked part-time for a solicitor, and then I've just zeroed down on I do just trust accounting, and now I've branched over to do bookkeeping for barristers. It's everyone's got their niche, and I don't touch anything if it doesn't have something to do with law in some way. So
Amazing, amazing. And what do you find different in the law, and especially working with barristers, that's different to most traditional businesses, as it were, or sole traders?
I think the main thing is that very smart people, however, they don't always want to do their books, and some people just have absolutely no interest. But then there's others who take a real interest and know what they're doing, and then just don't have the time. So there's a mixture, but yeah, most of the time they know, and they just don't have the time or the passion to do anything about it. So yeah,
It's that timepiece, isn't it? That timepiece is so important.
Yeah, it is. And and it's just even myself, it does take a while to come around to do your own books. It's it's not the fun job part of the job, but I enjoyed it. I know it like at the back of my hand, so it's it's easy for me, but others might find it a bit more difficult.
I bet. And what would you see as the unique challenges? Because many people don't know that barristers in particular have to be sole traders, as it were. They can't run a business. Are there any unique challenges you see just for barristers or those at the bar that you particularly help with, or that they come to you with, maybe at this time of year or later on?
It as you said, being sole traders, if they're to apply for any type of finance, home loan or anything like that, they need to have good records, well-kept records, and they need to have, the 2 years, tax returns. So, if you don't have all that in order, it can make life pretty difficult. So it's mainly about keeping the records for them personally, so that they know their worth, and and they can still live life. But it's a little bit difficult for sole practitioners of any sort. So.
I bet. Okay. And I often see that sometimes tax debts can get in the mix because, we all know a barrister gets paid 3 times: when they get the brief, when they do the work, and when the money hits their account. What are your tips for making sure that you're provisioning for tax and having enough money to pay your BAS and whatnot. Do you have any little tips or tidbits for any legal professionals or barristers watching?
Most people have a separate bank account, especially for tax. That's what I find is the best. Whether you're saving it for PAYG or saving it for BAS, you need to put some aside, and it's not always possible because you kind of you see it go in, but if you do it straight away or have a bit of a a system, then it's it's not as hard to see it leave your bank account.
That's a good point. Like, is 50%? I hear that's a bit of a golden rule. Just put 50% in that bank account and forget about it.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is keeping your personal and your business separate, and a lot of people intermingle everything, and that's where it becomes real difficult to see where it's easier for a bookkeeper if there's a private bank account and a business bank account. All expenses really should be business related. It gets real, and then you come into drawings and tax, and it's just better to have it totally separate.
Keep it separate, and don't mix things there. I think that's. What would you say is something that people wish they knew? That's just my son in the background. They wish they knew when they started at the bar or when they started in law that maybe would be helpful to know at the start of the journey in their financial sense.
Well, not to sell myself or my profession, but the biggest thing is I wish I had used a bookkeeper or accounting person a lot earlier. A lot of people do try and do it themselves, and like I said, if they're time poor, then they will. Unfortunately, it's the first thing to not happen. So and for people like me, cleaning up, messes, I guess you could say, is part of the job, but people do regret that's the biggest regret and the biggest thing that they would change. But also, it not only it delays a lot of things if you don't do it from the beginning. So I think, and especially like you said with tax, if everything was being done correctly from the beginning, then you wouldn't necessarily have that tax bill.
Good point. And in terms of the things that you see when people do them themselves, are there common errors or I guess traps that people fall into when they say, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself for the first couple of years? What are the common bugbears that you see when someone decides to do it themselves for at least a couple of years?
Yeah, it's mainly not allocating things correctly, and if you use a bookkeeper or a accountant, then they allocate all the funds to the correct spots, and then of course you're reaping the best tax benefits that you can, and making sure that they're in the right classification as well. So if you do it yourself and you don't do it all the time, you might not realize exactly where it should be going. So that's probably the biggest one I see.
I'm indeed by everything you're saying there, Amanda. And I want to make clear the distinction. Like, obviously, people say accountant, they say they're bookkeeper. Are they interchangeable terms? What's the difference? Let's settle it right now, just so people understand what it is that you do and how you add value.
Well, yes. So bookkeeper generally is, or an accounts person of some sort, is the data entry side, the decision on the front line, so to speak, where things should go, what they should, how they should be paid and how they should be worded, and then the accountants come in from through the tax portion. So I can do, as a registered BAS agent, I can do lodge BAS and PAYG, but as far as personal tax, I'm not registered to do that, and that's where an accountant will come in. and to do the company tax and personal tax. And they look at they more look at reports as a whole, whereas I look at each individual transaction.
It must be good to have someone so nimble on their feet, ready to help with the business side of things, because I guess that's where it gets most hairy, I'd say, rather than the personal stuff.
Yeah, and even today I got a call asking just a couple of questions, because it's just those little things that people just don't understand or don't know, and it's like I said, it's simple for someone like me who's been in the industry, but if you don't know, then you don't want to stress about it either. That's the last thing. I think if something's stressing you, or if it's a toxic issue in your life, get rid of it, outsource it. I know I do, especially IT.
It's one of those emotional vampires or energy suckers people always talk about. It's the same with the finance. I always say better to eat that frog and get it done.
Yeah, that's right.
If there's like a young reader tuning in, or someone who's just joined the bar, is there anything they need to do differently compared to someone who's been established at the bar?
Well, if you're established, then you more than likely have your own software or your own systems set up. You can get some pretty cheap software packages, and even if you want to do it yourself, they are very user friendly, and every software package now has training online as well. But for readers, I think the most important thing is to get those bank accounts set up, and get your online portal set up, and just the basic business that people do forget sometimes, and they forget that they're going to have to outsource this type of thing. So you do need to kind of have that money in reserve to be able to pay for all your debt, and your pay yourself as well. That's actually one thing that I have noticed, going back to the previous question. That is one thing that people don't seem to do properly. They don't pay themselves a set wage. They just take here, there, everywhere, and it does get a bit messy. So just to get into a routine, a bit of a system for yourself, and then people like me, we just come in and work with whatever you have set up, and however you want to do it, and we just go with the flow.
Very, very good. Do you see, obviously being sole traders, do you see family trusts coming into the mix very often with many in the legal profession?
I haven't seen many myself, no, but I know that it does happen. But no, I haven't personally seen much. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. And if there was something in the market that people need to know in 2024 that's different to previous years, what would that be, Amanda? Is there anything changing or anything shifting that people need to be aware of now? And obviously inflation's going down. Hopefully rates are going down, so the cost of living kind of eases. That would be good. What would your message to legal professionals and barristers tuning in right now about 2024 be?
I guess everyone's quite aware of the taking care of yourself and well-being. That's a big one, and I think it's just important that everyone looks after themselves, and if that means outsourcing, then definitely do that. But and I also think that personally, I think that working from home's on the down slope, but it's that they still have plenty of provisions tax-wise for working from home. But I think mental health-wise, it's best that people get back and actually talk. So
So are you a proponent of being back in the office or being amongst it in the city, in the chambers?
I'm pro-choice, and I think it's but I think a mix is really needed. I don't think that people can be isolated 100%, but yeah, definitely a mixture is really healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, we find that we have it at our office. Wednesday's a popular day to break up the week. Let me tell you, it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was in the city yesterday, and I love being in the city, and everyone would know, like, you just get a totally different vibe when you're actually working in an office, and just the travel. It's although it's time consuming for some, it's it's a bit of downtime as well for everyone, and just to have that chat, when you're making your coffee, I think it's pretty, it makes everyone more productive.
Well, case in point, you drove in today and you're commuting right now. So obviously you see a benefit of going back to the office and being in the mix, as it were.
Yeah, a bit of both. A bit of I know some people work better when they're at home, but I just think for everyone's for the morale of the whole business as well, and just making sure that everyone's working as a team and as a whole. It's definitely worth getting back into the office, to some degree.
I think so too. So do you think we'll go back to full-time work, no working from home ever?
I don't think so. No, I don't think. Well, of course, some jobs have to, but yeah, I can't. For people who work in an office, I don't think it'll ever go back to 100%.
No, I think you're right as well. It's already been established, and I think the smart companies know how to balance it. I think they definitely know how to make it work for their team and their employees and whatnot.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, not for every company, and it's not for every employee. Some people definitely need to go into an office, but I think whatever works for you.
No, very good, very good. And one of my last questions, Amanda, because I know time is ticking and you got to get back. I'm a lawyer working in a firm, and I'm thinking about starting my own shingle, thinking about joining the bar. Before I actually do it, what do I need to know? Because so many times I get calls saying, Cullen, I just started at the bar, I want to buy a home. I said, you need to wait 12 months. What should people do before they leave their employed job where they're getting paid PAYG income?
Yeah, probably try and save as much as you can. Just like any, going to business for yourself, the cash might start flowing in straight away, but so do the expenses. They can add up quite fast, especially the initial stages of starting any type of business. I would suggest, if you're even thinking about it, save some money, and so that you have that initial cash flow. And just even if it's on a spreadsheet, or one of the really cheap computer packages, keep some type of records, because that's the most important thing, because it's very hard to remember what you did 6 months ago and what that payment was for. Even if it's in a shoebox, keep the records somehow.
Keep the records. What a nice note to finish, Amanda. Thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you? Where are you hanging out most?
Well, I hang out a lot on LinkedIn. That's where we met. But yeah, mainly LinkedIn. That's where I get most of my business. So you can either look up my actual name, Amanda Allen, ALLEN, or you can, there's also a page for the Barristers Bookkeeper as well.
Fantastic. I'll put it in the show notes, Amanda. And thank you so much for being part of this. I think it's going to be valuable, and hopefully people come and seek you out to get things organized, but also fix up what's already in train as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your commute home. Thanks so much. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.